Hey, Nicola, here we are.
Here we are on a Monday, and I want to start by thanking all the listeners because, it really is so fantastic that everyone is giving us some great feedback, and already so many tickets have sold to our Backfence Disco.
I was just showing our next guest the brochure over the fence disco. Is it over the disco fence?
Yeah, Backfence Disco.
Over the fence disco over the fence, all of you above. But look, honestly, I was in the chemist this morning, Nicola. Yeah. Running to get some clear eyes and a few late nights. And I heard this song, I Will Survive. Well, I'm dancing myself stupid in the chemist. And I'm thinking, I don't care who's looking. You know what I mean? And I felt so good by the feel of the music in my body. There is nothing better than it's just runs deep in your soul. And honestly, a bunch of girls together with the best music in the best
It's great. Well, it's my two favourite words, positive energy and Balgala. Yeah. As I was saying before,
we love it.
So the money there goes to Beyond Blues. Yeah. And also there's great giveaway prizes.
Giveaway prizes. I know. We've been given so much stuff. We didn't even ask for the gift bags. So you guys
Air Women, Supercharged Food, Joe Bailey, Palmy Towels. There's so many things there. But you know what it is? It's a connection. It's Feel Good Friday, and it's for everyone just to get together, come solo. Yeah. And if you don't like to dance, I'm sure we'll get you dancing.
Absolutely.
But there's other areas you can sort of sit
get
down
on my shoulders
and have a chat to sort of someone. Community. We're all about friendship and connection and just bringing people together. Yeah. So come along. It'll be so much fun. But anyhow, we are going to go straight
our next
into
guest.
We have got
as I drink a Barocca, don't you love it?
Well, we are absolutely delighted because today we've got an Aussie icon at our back fence. We've got Olympic gold medalist and beach volley champion Kerri Pottharst OAM join us. So, we recently saw Kerri live in action this year when she was MC at the Win Gala Ball event, and that was
fun.
That was fabulous.
I danced for hours.
Well, Kerri, she lit up the room. She spoke so powerfully about mindset and performance, and so we knew straight away we just wanted to bring her into your ears. And so, as we know, Kerri delivered some of Australia's most iconic sporting moments at the Sydney 2000 Olympics in the beach volleyball, the Dream Machine. Honestly, one of the highlights.
It was my favourite moment.
So she's a woman who makes dreams come true. Yeah. But there's more to Kerri than just the medals. And beyond being an elite athlete, she's a speaker, she's an author, she's a mindset coach and a mum. So we're so looking forward to diving into that. Welcome, Kerri.
Thank you. Kerri. What a lovely intro.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I love watching people's faces when we read out an introduction to them. Some people are like, really? Is that me?
Yeah.
Did I do all that? Am I all of that? I love their faces. It's a great expression. Yes. So we were just having a chat previously, and I was just saying, with Olympians, how
Lisa Curry,
just with different Olympians, their stories behind their success, I don't think Lisa got a gold medal in
Commonwealth
in the Olympics.
Games. Yeah, she was a guest of yours recently.
So,
I love Lisa.
But those that strive within the sporting acumen, I love to hear the background story. And Lisa's story, Lisa Curry's story on our podcast, she went viral. And Nicola and I discussed the fact that people in the sporting world who achieve great things, people want to hear the story behind that, because you see that and you get the medal and you go, wow, they're amazing. But what's the journey to get them there? And that's something we really want to hear. What is your journey? Where does it start?
Yeah. Big question to start with. But before I start that, I've got to tell you my connection with Lisa Curry.
Yes.
So way back when Natalie Cook, my gold medal beach partner, when we first started playing together, we were looking for a swimwear sponsor. And Nat lives in Queensland, so she hit up Lisa, and Lisa had a swimwear brand called Hot Curry.
I remember.
And so we wore Hot Curry bikinis. They were our first swimwear sponsor. So thank you to Lisa for that. But it's great how athletes
supporting women.
back up. Well, and athletes backing other athletes, because athletes know how hard it is. I mean, we're in a niche sport. Women's sport already is niche, and then a niche is our sport of beach volleyball. So we're wherever we can find some way to replace our expenses, we look
Brilliant.
for. And if we can get money, we can. But back then, all we needed was some things to wear on the beach.
Lovely, you're giving Lisa a shout out.
Yeah,
and for all our listeners,
she's an
tune
amazing
into
woman.
that episode if
When
you haven't,
was Lisa
because
on?
Lisa was on last year.
Yeah,
and
should listen to it. It was
and a really
fascinating.
heartfelt one when she talks about her, sadly losing her daughter as well. But love that hearing that connection from years ago and sharing it. So when did it all begin?
Yeah, let's take it from the top.
You always want to be an Olympian.
Take it from the starting point. Gun goes off. Bing. Here's Kerri's life.
Well, I definitely wasn't one of those athletes that sat around as a little girl thinking, I want to go to the Olympics one day, or saw something on TV and said, I want to stand on the podium. I was just an ordinary girl growing up in Adelaide to a migrant family. My parents are German. They came over in the 50s and they worked really hard to give us a good life. We had a lovely childhood. And I was about 15, already 6 foot, nearly 6'1", so quite tall and skinny. And I got teased quite a bit at school. And I was a little self-conscious.
Why were you teased at school?
Oh, just because of my height and because I was kind of sensitive. I'm a Cancer, so hard on the outside but pretty mushy on the inside.
Love cancers.
And then I also have a funny last name, Pottharst. You take the H off and the T off, and in the middle there's just a big ass.
Oh, potty ass,
Isn't that so
it's
true?
It's a cruel
it's so terrible.
And you sing songs to all those.
I know. I even remember.
And even a height, isn't it amazing?
What do you remember?
I remember in primary school, like playing Kiss Chasey or something. Remember that? Kiss Chasey?
Yeah, I love Kiss Chasey.
The kids, the boys, if they caught me, had.
Shed.
Well, the boys would have to stand on a chair to kiss, to get to
so
my
you
height.
Shot up really fast.
I shot up really fast, and so one day, just randomly, my brother was playing a social game of indoor volleyball, and he asked me to come and fill in. We needed 6 players on the court before the whistle blew, and he said, "Come and be the 6th player." And then he said, when the whistle blows, get out of the way so we can play the point. And so I was like, oh, okay. So, I stood on the court. But after a while, I just kind of joined in and I really enjoyed it. And at the end of the game, he said, well, you're already really tall. Maybe you should play this sport. So he invited me to his club team. And lo and behold, I walked in and I loved it from the get-go. I found my tribe, people who enjoyed the fact and liked the fact that I was tall and patting me on the back and giving me a lot of confidence. And sport gave me confidence as a young person. I found what I was good at. I found where I felt needed, and I think that's so important for young females.
You're talking about your height. My brother, Nicola, my family called Nicola another sister, but my brother, I remember growing, because he was 6'7", he was playing American football, but I always remember this, Nick, I always remember Colin stooping down with his head. Now, my son's 6'5", and he's starting to do it, and it's like, you should be so proud of your height. You think of your sliding door moment. But I'm really conscious of that because Colin used to say he used to get constant scabs in his head because he was hitting things and whatever. But I just don't know what that is.
It's just the lot of life of tall people. You just have to deal with it. And most of the time you are. I'm looking down to all my friends. All my best friends are real shorties.
There you go.
I don't know why.
You named it. Yeah. Looking down to talk to your friends.
Well, we had Catherine Cox as well too.
Kath Cox is another friend of mine.
From No Dribble and Carol, and we had them on with No Dribble, and they're just great.
Brilliant.
But she's really tall, and she's also with Liz Ellis too. Yeah. So they're going, to Carol and going, what's this is normal. So it's quite
they hang around with friends like that. That's right. Well, I was tall at first in indoor volleyball, and nowadays, if I go on tour and because I do a lot of commentary, I go on tour and I'm in the lift with the girls nowadays, and I'm looking up at them.
Tell me how you met up with Natalie Cook, your partner in crime.
Well, I played indoor volleyball, so I went on and I played indoor for 10 years with the national team, and I absolutely loved it. Travelled the world, used all my holiday pay, all my sick leave, everything. Didn't get paid a cent.
So when are we talking? Just for our listeners, what sort of decade are we?
So 17 to 27.
Yes, how things have changed now.
That was my age. So what would I have been then? So that was the 80s and 90s. Yeah, 80s and 90s.
Interesting
I was playing
hearing that women
indoor.
in sport, how there was no funding.
There still isn't
Wayne
really.
Beachley was talking about the same thing.
Still isn't.
There still isn't. I mean, there's a few sports that get big inputs of funding every now and again. The AFL women, for instance, yes, there's money in it, and yes, they're attracting crowds, but they're still not making big money. They're still not
tennis
making...
now sort of equaling a lot more that there's now, which is good. We're on our way. But back with you, so you've gone from indoor and travelling around the world.
How did that Natalie Cook we were talking about?
So indoor. So I played indoor. I went overseas. I went to Italy for a season. That's where I decided that I was kind of the best player in Australia at the time.
Yes.
As in indoor.
Yeah, indoor. And I kind of wanted to still get better. I wanted to still see how much further I could get. And so I decided to go overseas. And so I quit a really good job to get a contract in an indoor club in Italy.
Yes.
And I literally had to go there and try out. But I remember walking into this big gym, and the whole gym is kind of surrounded on the inside by just this single file of men, older men who were all the club, club people, and they were all there to watch this Australian who had come to try out. And I was on the court with two of the male coaches, and they're just drilling me through all these different things. And then at the end of it, they said, okay, go have a shower and then come in the office and we'll have a chat to you about what we can do for you. Anyway, I was there with my boyfriend, which was good, so I had some moral support. Yes. But I walked into the office and sat down, and they said, we'd really love you for the next season. They pushed this contract across the table, and I looked down at the figure and I went, okay. And I'd never seen that many zeros, and it wasn't a lot. I'm talking maybe $30,000 back in the 90s.
But in comparison, so interesting comparison to Australia. Isn't it?
Oh, nothing in Australia. Not 1 cent do you get. No. But I also was spending probably $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year to compete and to travel, and I was losing out on money of work. Exactly. So I played a year in Italy, absolutely loved it. I actually this is a really good story, I got sacked halfway through because the team was losing, and I was kind of the last one in, and they were only allowed 2 foreign players per team. It was me and a German girl. We were living together. And so halfway through the season we were losing. So first they sacked the coach, and his wife was the captain, so she left with him, and then they decided they needed a stronger foreign player. I was playing the best volleyball I'd ever played, but it wasn't good enough. So they hired this Brazilian girl. Anyway, they asked me back in the office, and they said to me, look, we're really sorry, we like you, but we need a stronger player. We've got a Brazilian girl coming over. You've got 2 choices. You can stay and train with the team, but you can't play matches on the weekends because we're only allowed 2 foreigners, or we can pay you out and you can go home. Well, I didn't go there to make money. I went there to get better. Good girl. So I straight away chose to stay, and then I walked out, and then myself and the German girl were still kind of competing, but I knew that I wasn't playing. The Brazilian girl comes in. She's smashing the ball harder than I've ever seen anybody hit the ball. I trained really hard, and at the end of the week, they called me back into the office and said, we've decided to keep you and sack the German girl.
Oh, it's a cruel world, isn't it?
Is that the one you're both together, like you're boarding together?
Yes. So I got back into the car with the German girl on the way back. No. Her choice was to leave straight away.
So she got the same thing as you.
She got the same thing, said, I'm going. And she literally, we got in the car, and I was so happy but also upset for her. She just looked at me and said, are you happy now?
And I went, not fair, but that's life.
So did she take the money and run there?
Yeah, she took the money and left, and I stayed on with the Brazilian girl for the rest of the season.
The rest of the season. Did you stay
another few months?
That, or?
Well, then I came back to Australia to hopefully then go back again.
Is the boyfriend still on the scene?
The boyfriend was another whole long story, but he was working in England at the time, so he wasn't too far from Italy. So we did see each other a couple of times. But I came back to Australia, and I played at the National Championships. In the grand final, I landed, twisted, and completely destroyed my knee, and I never played indoor again.
Okay, that fascinates me because you end up playing on the sand, and all I can think of is knees and sand landing from a jump. Tell me about that transition.
Well, if you think about it, when you land on hard surfaces, it's much more impact on your joints, and it was the landing and twisting that twisted and ripped all my ligaments. So on the sand, it's a whole lot softer. You land soft. You can fall differently. You can land.
It's different.
Levels. For some injuries, sand is not good because of the unbalanced surface. Right. But for jumping, it's fantastic. So anyway, after a year, I had a lot of self-development during that year because everything. My whole life was volleyball. I quit my job to play. I did everything.
What, Kerri, it's a good thing to, I mean, it's so hard to do, but I think so many people can relate to that in their own different ways. You know, you're succeeding in some area and all of a sudden, bang, the universe happens and, you know, you can't do it. And for sports people or people can lose their jobs over things
Absolutely.
like that. And then, you know,
I
you have to
learnt a
sort of
lot.
like re-pivot and find yourself again from like a ground zero.
Exactly.
To be the greatest move
And
of
then,
your life.
This
is the irony in it all
that's it.
sometimes.
It's the worst moment. It was the worst period of my athletic career which turned it around because...
So remember that, guys, as Nicola just said, there's huge lessons in that.
Yeah.
You know, he's a perfect example of how that turned around to be the greatest move
But
of
it's
your life.
challenges along the way to get there, isn't
it?
And
It's
that's which we want to hear some of your tips. You know, we want to hear your tips.
And that's exactly why I still speak a lot. I do a lot of corporate speaking because I share the stories and the tips and the strategies, and you know, people can relate to that in real life. So what happened was, after about 3 months, I'd lost 10 kilos of muscle. Because I literally sat on the couch. I had 3 surgeries. I was in the biggest mess physically and mentally of my life. And the same boyfriend was back from England, and he was a school teacher. He came home with a brand new white volleyball. And the first thing I did was start crying. I'm like, oh, what am I going to do with that?
I know.
I can't even walk.
You came back with a brand new girlfriend.
No, wait a minute. I was just bringing in an engagement ring. It's a white volleyball. That's a big time.
Here's a white
The size of
volleyball.
a volleyball.
So funny.
So you're like, great, thanks.
Yeah,
but
I'm like, what am I
there's got to
gonna
be
do
a
with
but
that?
moment here.
So he said, he handed me like a text or a marker. He said, on every panel of that ball, I want you to write a goal.
Oh,
and then
you're making me get
date
teary.
on that goal, and then work out how you're going to get back to playing for Australia again. And I had been sitting there for 3 months depressed. I had not thought too far ahead. I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know if I'd ever play again. But all of a sudden now I had a purpose. I had something to do. So the first thing was, okay, let's try and work out a date that I'm back on the court for Australia. So I put that date on. So I started with the end in mind. Make the goal, put a date on it. Then I worked back and thought, what do I need to do to get there? So then I started thinking...
This is on the ball.
This is on the ball.
Nicola, isn't this incredible?
I have that ball, and the crazy thing is it's 30 years old. I've put air in it twice. Only twice. And I take it with me to all my talks and I throw it out to the crowd.
I was going to say, I wish I had it today.
Yes, bouncing
What
balls.
a beautiful man, though. What a beautiful man.
It was the best thing ever. So remember Wilson?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
We went to the island in Fiji. Yeah.
It was my Wilson.
Yes.
I
I
love
literally
this.
sat there and it had all the little steps along the way written on it that I thought I needed to do. But what ended up happening was some of those steps I had no idea how to rehab. And sometimes when we have, you know, really cool big goals in mind, we actually either don't have those goals or we forget about them because we don't know how to get there. But it didn't matter. I'm like, okay, well, I want to get there. I don't know how to get there. I'll just make it up to start with. And I had jogging on there at about the 3rd month. And when you have a knee injury, jogging is, you know, years away. But it doesn't matter. I kind of planned in pencil, in a sense, and just went, okay, I can't do that one. I'll go to that one.
Another form is it like sort of nearly of manifesting of it, of sort of setting the thing there and then what you want to do. You know, you're creating your desires.
And it's putting it out in front of you and
writing it down.
Writing it down.
And turning it.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
Touching it.
Yes.
And they'd pick up the ball and we'd throw it around at each other and they'd look at it and go, oh, what are you up to? Which one are you up to? And we'd talk about it. So not only did it remind me as a ball of what I wanted to do, but not only did it remind me of that, it made me accountable. It made me go, well, what am I up to and what do I need to do to get to the next step? And I think that sometimes we have these goals in mind, but we don't actually.
And how long was that process, Kerri? When you were actually back playing,
wow,
and
that's
then
a long time.
And then what ended up happening
on the ball,
is I couldn't get back to indoor. And there was one panel on the ball where the valve is that I kind of sat the ball down on the table on a stand, and I thought, I won't fill that in. But one day I picked it up and I thought, I'd like to play beach one day. So I picked it up and I wrote beach volleyball on there.
Oh, stop.
And this is 3 years before the Olympics, before my first Olympics in 96, I wrote Atlanta, United States Olympics 1996. And it was 3 years to go until that. And
set the goals.
Quickly turned it back around and just went, I better turn around so no one sees it.
Yes.
But that was where the seed was sown. That was where it was kind of like, okay, well, if I can't play indoor, maybe I'll try beach. And beach will be an Olympic sport for the first time ever at that Olympics.
It's the best sport, isn't
It
it?
had never been
I'm
in the
a bit
Olympics
speechless
before.
right now.
Yeah.
So it was all
This
this
near the valve at the bottom. She placed it down on top of it,
Yeah.
and that's what led you.
And it was a series of events. That kind of
it's
led to
just
that.
It's just such a great sort of metaphor for so many people in their own personal life too. When you're feeling down and out, and there's no way out, even if it's privately, like you've put that down not for anyone else to share.
Yeah.
You've put that down and setting. This is what you're going to do, or aim to do it. Have those steps that gives you that purpose. That's
Absolutely.
just. I was going to say that's gold. We certainly succeeded in that. We can't
So
wait to get to the
We all
gold
need
part.
purpose.
Yeah,
We all
exactly.
need purpose. Though.
We
We all
do.
need something that we're looking forward to. If you don't have a goal in mind, then what is life, right? You're just existing. Why exist when we can thrive and work towards something? And even if you work towards, the highest step and you just get 2 rungs below, that's so much better than
Create your own goals.
Someone might be
Whatever they
listening now
are.
going, yeah, great, I've got nothing going on. Well, have a sense of purpose, get up in the morning and go for a walk.
Yeah, go
You
for
know,
a walk and just
and
set
beautiful
yourself-
nature.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
yes.
something
It doesn't
to
have to be a career
create something
or
beautiful
Yes.
for yourself to
paint,
to
draw,
do
whatever.
something.
Just set. What
Yeah.
do you love?
Yeah,
what
that's it. You've
resonates
gotta
with
find
you?
what you love.
Anything you're
Yeah.
passionate
Yeah.
about.
And sometimes you just have to quieten the noise around you to realise what that is. Because a lot of people say to me, I don't really have a goal. I don't know what to do. My friend said that to me the other day. And I just sat with her for a little bit and said, what do you really love? And she said, I love animals. I'd love to look after animals, in their later years of life. And so, we started to create maybe a little bit of a vision for her for the future of
How
being able to
wonderful.
look after animals. So, it's there in everybody. It's just a matter of having that quiet. And sometimes the quiet can be in the shower or just before you go to sleep or just putting on some really mellow music and being on your own and just thinking about what you really love and what you want to do before lights are out.
Yeah.
We've only got a short amount of time. I mean, we're all in our
Yeah.
3rd chapter. This is
We are.
We are.
A third chapter. I sometimes go, it's now or never. You
It's
do this one
true.
there. Let's just do it.
All
Let's
3
go
girls
for
in
it.
the room.
We're
I've
all
got
now-
6 in front of us.
Exactly.
Yahoo!
Well, what did Kathy Letts say?
Yahoo!
Kathy Letts said it's our 60s.
It's
so
our
we're
60s.
rocking it.
Give me a high
And you know
five.
what? And that's really, proud, being, feeling grateful, and
Yeah.
and hopefully there's many more decades ahead. But it's great also seeing women and talking about things
Yeah.
like that. But just
just
keep on
heaven.
going forward. How did it all happen? Then playing indoor and
meeting
becoming an
and
Olympian.
Natalie
Yes,
too,
yeah.
because I'm intrigued by Natalie Cook as well.
Oh, she's incredible. So I couldn't play indoor and I switched to the beach. I started realising that I would be perhaps a good beach player because that you don't always transition from indoor to beach well. Some players it doesn't suit them. You have to be a bit of an all-rounder and you have to enjoy the elements and just being, because 6-on-6 indoors and it's just 2-on-2 on the beach.
Yes.
So it's just you and your partner, so you've got to have good communication skills, you've got to learn them anyway. I started playing with my best friend and then after about a year I realised that to go to the Olympics, you had to be the 1st or 2nd team in Australia. We were the 3rd ranked team in Australia. And
When you say we, that was
myself
Natalie.
and my best friend.
Right, yeah.
And Natalie was in the number 1 team
Got
with
it.
another girl who had started about a year or so earlier than us. And so our option, or my option, was just keep going and try and fight into that top 2 or maybe look for a different partner. And so I remember sitting on the beach in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil one day after a tournament that I'd played with
Beautiful
my
beach.
friend, and Natalie had played with her partner. And we were just going for swims and I looked at Nat and said, I really think you and I would be a good team together. And she sort of went, oh, because her partner had brought her into the scene, 10 years older than her, and she kind of was looking after her and funding a lot of stuff and just helping her out. And that felt really responsible to her. And she's like, oh, but I can't really leave my partner. Anyway, as things happened, her partner found out we were talking, ended up getting somebody else, and so dumped Nat. And so Nat came back to me and said, okay, I'm ready. I'm like, okay, let's go.
How did it go with your bestie?
Oh,
Was it
really
hard?
bad. It was
Oh,
really hard.
Are you
We are close as anything now.
Oh, lovely.
love that.
Really
Going back
close.
around.
Happens.
That
Life
makes me
happens,
happy.
but we didn't really talk much for the next 2 years.
I understand why. I get that.
So I had to change partners, and sometimes in life, your environment, the people around you, because you are a sum of the 5 people around you.
True.
They're not the people that is going to help you move to where you want to go. And sometimes you have to change your environment. And I had to make a big decision. I even asked people around me, I said, do you think I should stick with my best friend or go with Natalie? And everyone said, stay
win or not.
Stay with your friend. Like, you know, it's more certain, you're unsure, you and Nat might not be good together. And even our federation said to us, if you guys get together and you don't finish top 5 in the next 2 World Tour events, we're not funding you. So we had
the pressure's on, isn't it?
You believe.
Also incentive.
Yes, okay, good.
We first realised that both of us thrive on that sort of challenge. Great. We didn't back away from it. So we realised that this is a good partnership, and that going into the Sydney Games, people went, oh my God, you must have had so much pressure on you, you know, thousands of people cheering for you and the weight of the nation and everything. And we're like, we loved it. It was like everyone was behind us, helping push us up onto the podium.
Just a quick question here. I mean, I'm not sporty. Nicola knows.
I actually disagree with that.
But you know, I love to swim and walk and do things.
That's sporty.
I know.
But I don't play.
Competitive, maybe competitive.
When my tooth got knocked out, was it?
I think that's it. She's not competitive.
No.
Not in sport. Hey, then again, we did the Coast Trek walk, and the last 5Ks, she wasn't going to do it because I said, she goes, no, that's it. And as a girlfriend, I was sort of like going, okay, no, we are going to do it. And she's like, no, you go ahead, whatever. Anyhow, finally, I said, well, I'm just sitting here, I'm not going until you go. And we had another girlfriend too. Anyhow, so then Di, like, oh, right, like she's nearly like cursing our names, and, you know, like our friendship's nearly over, whatever. Anyhow, then Di, it was so funny, took off. She goes, I'm spent, I'm done, whatever. She took off, and the last thing we couldn't see her, and she sprinted across the
she sharked you. She sharked you.
Honestly, I went right.
You should have put some money on it.
So there's a competitive streak in there, but laughed.
Tom Hanks, what was it when he kept walking?
Run, Forrest, run.
I was Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
And they I was like,
I'm like that too. When you can see the finish line, I'll sprint. If I can't see it, I'll be like, God,
it's going to be
so hard. I hate this.
We digress, but just going, sorry,
my question that I'm dying to know is, because there's so many sports that are not two. A lot of the Olympic sports are individual, like running or swimming, whatever. How do you become in sync? Because I was questioning that on the day when you were in the
rowing,
Sydney Olympics on Bondi Beach, because it is all in sync with volleyball and particularly on the beach. Like, how do you develop that with someone?
Especially when there's 10,000 people cheering for you, can't hear a thing.
But as in building up to
there's
that
just one
moment.
answer. There's one answer. You both have a shared goal. You have to have exactly the same goal in mind, and then you work it out as you go. That's exactly what we did.
So, because you're like this, you're like a dance.
That's a really good answer.
Yeah,
and it's a
were
good
your
thing
good friend? Were you as in sync with her?
No, we weren't friends.
And you had goals?
Were 10 years different, completely different interests. Completely different people.
But same
reacted
goals.
Reacted differently about things. She was more introverted where I was extroverted. She was extroverted on the court. I was more introverted. Really interesting, but very different.
So how would you describe Natalie, introverted or extroverted?
Well, she's extroverted now, but she was more she was extroverted on the court. She's like cheering the crowd on, like, come on, cheer for us after each point, where I was head down, concentrating, looking at the sand, because if I looked up and started doing this, I'd totally lose my train of thought. I was head down thinking about what's going to happen next, how are we going to play this point, And then off the court, she was less... I was kind of more outgoing and hanging out with all the players on tour, and she'd be a little bit more to herself. But these days we're both similar. A bit of both. But the point is that we're very different.
It's funny, just reliving that moment. I can't imagine it was like, because I sort of think, as I was saying, with sport brings people together. The Sydney Olympics brought, I think, our whole nation together. And back,
it was in Australia.
When they had the announcement of, remember that the winner is Sydney.
Sydney.
I remember my parents ringing up and people tooting their horns, and all Australians, we all felt like we're Olympians.
A dream.
And, I went to the opening ceremony with my dad and I went to the beach volleyball and saw, I didn't go to the finals, but I went there and took my young daughter, iconic spot. So we were all excited.
Yeah.
How is it for you when you're there on the Olympics in Sydney, the year 2000, you've made it to the finals to get there. What was that like for you guys?
Well, you have to go back to the first Olympics we played. We also made the top 4, the semi-finals in Atlanta, the previous Olympics. And we were slated to play a team that we'd beaten many times, a Brazilian team, not the number 1 Brazilian team, but the number 2 Brazilian team. It was about 50-50 in wins and losses. We went into that semi-final, instead of thinking, yeah, we're going to win this, we're going to go for gold, we went in going, I hope we're going to hope not to lose this. Let's not lose this, because if we lose this, then we play off for bronze and we could end up fourth. And we went into this semi-final absolutely petrified of losing. And this is a really important point, because sometimes we just look for the worst case scenario. You know, you might walk in somewhere and go, oh, I'm going to be terrible at this. I'm going to be really bad, or whatever. And you're just completely
like you're putting your brakes on before you accelerate.
Exactly. And it was so bad. And we didn't just lose the semi; we got thrashed by this Brazilian team that we'd beaten, because we were so crazily distracted. Next day, obviously, we came out. We won the bronze, but it wasn't. It was very lucky, actually. Yeah, well, what happened overnight, and this is where inspirational people around you, and especially at an Olympics, is so important. That night after we'd lost, we went back to the village, and that night, swimming in the men's 1,500 metre freestyle final was Kieran Perkins. And he had he'd only made the final by 100th of a second, and he was in lane 8, and he'd been written off by everybody. Least he made the final, they were all saying. Anyway, he dove in, and Natalie was watching this in the massage, in the medical area of the Olympic Village, because we sent her off. We said, Nat, you've got to lift your head, because she was so distraught after our loss.
Yes.
Go and get some TLC, and get a massage.
Lift your head, it is, yeah.
And so she went in there, and they were all, no one was doing any work. They were all crowded around this TV set watching Kieran Perkins. He dove in, and he literally 15 minutes later won the race.
I remember
Won a gold medal. You remember?
I remember it.
It was so crazy.
It was, and they've become Australian heroes.
Yeah.
Kind of overnight, really.
Yeah. And Nat had walked into this place at the lowest of low, thinking, how can she lift us? And we were really worried about, myself and my coach, worried about her and her mindset leading into the next day to play off for the bronze. And she walked out of there. She said that she just yelled out, I don't need a bloody massage. I'm going to go and win a bronze medal.
Yay!
So she was
wonderful.
She was so inspired.
A flick of a switch.
Cheering people on.
It's
and
brilliant.
Supporting
people. But mindset is a really interesting word, though, because what does that mean to the general listener?
Yes.
Like, what does it mean?
And let's
it can mean a
unpack that
lot
while
of
you're on
things.
But just how was the feeling for you, though? You know, like with that, because I got to say,
how was your mindset?
I watched it again before you coming on, like the last
2001
the 2001 in Sydney, because it is iconic, and at Bondi Beach,
of all places in the world.
Yeah, it was a build up. So we
just won.
We did a lot of work, and I unpacked this at my corporate talks. We don't have enough time to talk about it. I've got so many stories about how we did this, how we developed. Mindset for us was belief and passion and, positivity and looking forward, all those sorts of things, not dwelling on mistakes. There was one point where I said to my coach, why are all the teams serving me all the time?
Sorry, what was that?
Why are all the teams serving me all the time? Why am I receiving every serve? And he's like, well, because the other teams think they can make points off you. And I'm like, well, why is that? Why has this changed? And he said, do you really want to know? And I said, yes, tell me. He
I
said,
want to know.
because you keep making not just one mistake, but you will make 2 or 3 mistakes in a row. So they'll get a batch of points off you, and then they'll switch to your partner. So I'm like, oh, really? And that's when I realised how I was hanging on to mistakes for way too long. So I then started to come up with a strategy.
In your mindset?
In my mind,
Right. I love it.
So you'd make a mistake, and then you just dwell on it and go, oh, I'm
You'd
terrible.
Be hard on
that's
yourself, would you?
Yes,
so
yes.
that would go, because so many people do that, oh, no, I'm not good at that. No, I'm not going to, I'm going to give up. Whereas really...
Me in the wall.
I know. But how do you turn that around? Is it sometimes you need a coach?
Well, you need someone to first of all, you need to be aware of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
How am I
self
self-sabotaging my life, my relationships, my work? You know, what am I doing that's making these things happen to me all the time? So it's awareness first, and then it's like, well, what do I need to focus on? So you know how you talk about you want to buy a new car. Let's say you want to buy a blue BMW or something like that, and then all of a sudden, all you see on the road for the next few weeks is a BMW,
Absolutely.
and it's blue,
Everywhere.
and oh my God, there's another one, there's another
100%.
one, and you've never seen them before. It's because you've put that thought in your mind. So imagine how that works with sport or with life or with partners. If you're single looking for a partner, put in your mind what type of person you want, rather than thinking about who do I have to be. Just be you, but who do you really want, and what sort of relationship do you really want? And I'll share something really personal with you. Being single for the last couple of years, I put in my wardrobe at home in my bedroom, I put up a little couple of paragraphs of just feel-good stuff, like opening the door every day. I'd look at it and go, oh, yeah, I'm free. I wrote these other things, and I'm looking for I'm going to find the man of my dreams who will treat me like his queen, and I'm going to treat him like my king, and I'll be in love, and all this sort of stuff. I can't even remember it word for word, but I just wrote all this stuff on the inside of my wardrobe, and I just open it up and look at it every day, and it makes me feel fantastic. So I'm putting thoughts in my mind. It doesn't mean I'm going to literally find him the next day.
Life's still good before.
But it's about
like that.
It's about putting good thoughts in your mind and steering your mindset in the direction you want it to go, rather than allowing your mind to just go to bad news and watching the news and seeing everything negative in the world and feeling bad about this and that and the other. And, I like one of the key things I got from that too is also they can like me for being me. Like, I don't need to change to be that person for somebody else. No. And that's what you want, and vice versa.
I love that.
But can you,
I love it all. I love it because that's our magic.
So how
Feng Shui, and she said put the little doodle drawing above your bed.
Exactly.
Of two people in love.
I've got that in the dog, and also like they said the left side of the bed too. Don't have single women pictures in your room if that's what you say want to attract. Sort of like as the right person or whatever.
Exactly.
Like that. So there's lots of great little tips one way or the other, however you want to do it. But I love that writing down, seeing it. So just on that subject too. So how is the love life?
Well, right now it's pretty good.
Did you manifest or what happened?
Well, look, I just put myself in a happy, confident, positive frame of mind.
Right, yeah.
And last year I was in Hawaii on holiday with my son and his girlfriend, and I met a really nice man, and we've been seeing each other ever since. He lives there, I live here. It's perfect.
But that's great. I like
buying
that.
tickets. Tell us that as well.
Okay. So this is a story that basically is about saying yes, and just stepping out of your comfort zone, which I think sometimes we forget to do. I was sitting in Hawaii in the hotel room with my son and his girlfriend, and I just saw that one of my favourite performers, Ray, that song, Baby, Where the Hell Is My Husband?
I love it.
We'll
go to the disco.
Well,
she was
coming.
She was doing. I'm coming. Yeah,
Mary's coming.
She was doing a world tour, and I'm like, oh great, when's she in Australia? And she wasn't. And she had many concerts all around the world, and I'm just looking at all the ones in Europe. Thankfully, I didn't sign up to one of those.
Yes.
And then I saw she was in a few in the States, and I saw New York, and I went, I'm just going to buy 4 tickets to her concert in New York. And it was like over 6 months in advance. And I'm like, I don't know who I'm going to go with. I don't know how or why or what trip I'm going to build around it, but I'm just going to buy them. And my son and his girlfriend laughed at me, and I just bought the tickets.
You actually did it. So for anyone listening,
don't be afraid.
Who are you going to take?
Do something.
Just do it. Yeah. It's exciting.
I say yes
switch.
and work it out later. Say yes, do it, and work out how you're going to get there. So what happened over the next few months? Well, first of all, a couple of days later, I met my partner who lives in Hawaii, and he ended up coming with us. So we were in New York just 2 weeks ago.
Just clarify this. You were en route to New York, or you?
No, I
just happened to be in Hawaii.
I was just in Hawaii on holidays with my son.
Just to see Ray in Sydney initially,
you came home, and then
I went, I've got 4 tickets.
I'll go with you. So that's one.
Yep, and then I threw it out to a couple of my friends at a barbecue one afternoon, and 2 of the girls said, "Oh, well, come, bang!" There's 4 people, and we built this trip. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
We might go somewhere else
along the way,
and we had 6 great days in New York. It was really cool, and then on the way home in Hawaii, obviously, and So I look.
So life is
about saying yes.
Going. So is he in Hawaii and you're in Sydney? And
at the moment. Yeah.
So you have some nice little holidays or meets up, and
life is just one big holiday right now.
I'm
traveling.
I'm not going to go back to Bondi and do it, but I do want to say that how many besides swimming, obviously, as competitive sports are there in the world when you're playing in a bikini?
Well, there are a lot. There are a lot. Have a look. Athletics.
Yeah, cool. That's true.
Athletics.
That's true.
They've got shoes on.
Actually, that's true. The lycra would have covered. But I do remember watching you going, how cool, Aussie on Bondi Beach in a bikini playing competitive sport. I thought,
very
it doesn't
iconic.
get any better. But I do remember thinking, with my boobs, there's no way in the world I could
stop
play.
showing off, Di.
I could play
Strap them down.
competitive.
Two tops, one over the other.
I just thought, I can't do it ever.
Mindset, you can work it out.
I just loved it. It was like music.
Well, these days, I tell you, people wear whatever they want: skirts, shorts, leggings, long sleeves.
I love it.
Full burqas for the ladies as well, if that's their culture. Yeah. We've had it all, and there are no restrictions. You can wear whatever you want. Yeah. But most players still wear bikinis because that is our sport. It's played on a beach.
It's just so confident. Some people are so worried about their body image, as you know.
But, when you're an athlete at that level, most athletes have got pretty solid bodies. They're pretty athletic.
Fit. And you had music too, blaring, didn't you?
Yeah, it's a very different thing.
It's like
because
a bit more of a party scene
absolutely, that's what it
went there, and it was just
it's not like golf or tennis where you have to be quiet. Like the louder the better. And as players, we're just used to it. So we laugh when the tennis players are like, "Oh, shush!" You're like, "I can't surf because you're making too much noise."
When you stand on the podium.
When I did back then, of course, it was just.
And because when I relived it, sort of I watched it again, and I was thinking, whatever you do in life, you've got that. Some people don't have a moment like that is just incredible.
It's really
and
funny.
And the story leading up to it.
That's
and
it.
Riding on that ball.
Yes. Nicola, I'll never get over that.
There's
so many people out there buying white balls at the
Look, I sometimes do goal-setting workshops with my corporate teams, and they'll buy balls and they'll have all their staff write on the balls after the story. Yeah. So I love to encourage and inspire people to set goals, but not just set them, but actually develop the belief. So for us, the last piece of the puzzle, like we had our volleyball covered, we had our fitness at its peak, as good as we could at that time. I was 35, so I wasn't in my peak. I was kind of peak, but I had more injuries, so it was just a battle to stay uninjured at that time. But the last piece of the puzzle that we had to cover was our belief, because you can't stand on the court in the final for gold against a team that has won everything. The Brazilians had won everything in the lead-up. We'd only beaten them once in 17 matches. Like, how do you have the courage to then play your best in front of your home crowd and try and beat them? You have to have some sort of inner belief. And the last 18 months leading into the games, we did all sorts of stuff to develop that belief. We had a success coach. We brought him on board. He was like a Tony Robbins type coach. We did fire walking and glass walking, blindfolded rock climbing.
Have been to the beach.
Yeah. Well, but if you think about it, it's all about things that are scary.
It's wonderful.
And it's about overcoming your fear of something before it actually happens, and then doing it and looking back and going, well, that wasn't so bad. What else am I afraid of that's stopping me right now? Because I'm thinking I can't do it. I'm thinking I'm going to be hurt. I'm afraid.
For someone listening now, you said one example. What's another example to turn it around? Without the coach in you, without the Tony Robbins in your ear.
Every day.
Someone listening now going, hear that? How do I turn
every day? Do something that makes you step a little bit out of your comfort zone, even if it's brushing your teeth with your left hand, or going to work a different way. A different road, wearing something different that you're not used to, dressing up a level when everybody else is in casual, just dressing up a little, or dressing down if you just want to be more casual just do something that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, that's a little bit outside of your comfort zone, and then you just grow further and further into that, and you just overall become a more confident person.
You're
because that's exactly
the brain
what
too, aren't you, at the same time? On that note, can I say in your 60s, like we all are, I'm finding that I'm more confident, as in I'm I'll just say yes and I'll do it, where before I might have hesitated. Are you finding that you're like, you're stepping in more into your power?
I think I've always been like this.
Yeah.
I think it's different as you get older because physically I can't do what I used to do. I actually accepted something a little bit crazy a few years ago. I went on SAS Australia.
Speaking of grunt and achieving remarkable.
What made you go in that,
That's
Kerri?
incredible.
Well, that was probably the scariest.
Can you explain to listeners what that is?
No. Well, it was...
SAS.
So it was the Special Forces. SAS is... part of the Special Forces in the Australian Army, and they're basically
a TV show.
It's basically a TV show where you get put into an environment where they try and make you quit. So you have a number. I was number 13. This is the last number I wanted. I got the unlucky number. But literally you can rip that number off at any time and say, I'm done, I'm out. And people were ripping off their numbers day 1, day 2, day 3. It was a 13-day course. They didn't call it a TV show. It was actually real. People asked me many times, what happened when the cameras stopped rolling? They never stopped. We didn't even see the cameras. We were just in this environment. We were in the Blue Mountains. Okay. And it was freezing cold. And I was drowned in a Jeep. We had to crawl through tight spaces. We had to run with 20 kilos on our back, do all these physical things. We had to shoot real guns with blanks, machine guns. We had to do all sorts, dangle from helicopters. I had to climb under it, so I had to get out of a helicopter. There was a ladder underneath it, and I had to get on the end of the ladder, monkey bar under the helicopter, across the ladder, and then get back up into the helicopter with no rope, no nothing. A lake was like 30 metres below us. If we let go, we would fall.
How old were you?
55.
There you go.
Because I think
she's doing that when she's 55, guys.
Also, you sort of think with you're a mum to your son, and you sometimes you think, when you do an extreme thing, you push yourself outside your comfort zone, and then you
This was extreme.
That's extreme.
Yeah,
Not
was
super extreme, but as an Olympian, that was kind of... I had to do something extreme to push myself. So the interesting thing was I was lying in bed a few months before that, and I got a text message from Jana Pittman. You know Jana?
Beautiful.
So she's an absolute beast in every way. She's just so accomplished. Anyway, she wrote to me and said, I'm on this TV show. You probably heard of it. It's the 2nd season. They're looking for another female retired athlete. Would you be interested? I can put you in touch with the producers. And I got the message at 7:30 in the morning, and I started laughing. I'm like, oh, my God, I haven't been into the gym for years. I feel weak. I've had 6 knee surgeries at this point. Like I'm old. And I started writing all this back to her. I said, nah. And then I looked at it.
First response.
And I went,
I looked at my answer without sending it, and I just went, nah, this is the biggest challenge you've ever had, Kerri, since the Olympics.
You read all the negative.
I did. And I didn't press send. I deleted it, and I said, yes,
That's
I would put me in
touch.
So
write it down, view it, and go, oh, no, that's not me.
Well, I just had this thought that this is such a big challenge, and this is a real chance to inspire older women.
Yes.
Because I think we do stop challenging ourselves. We say no to stuff. We don't believe we can do things. We think, our time's up and we're getting old. Yes. And I'm like, no. But I then had, when they accepted me, 11 weeks to prepare for it, and I went gung-ho like an Olympian.
Watch out.
But you know what? The first thing I did was build my team, and this is what we've got to do too when we have something in mind. And my team was the people who were on the first season. I reached out to 3 or 4 of them and asked them all their tips. So go to someone who's done what you want to do.
And who were they? Anyone we'd recognise or know?
Shannon Ponton. He did The Biggest Loser.
Oh, yes, I do. Yes. I thought I'd heard the name.
Who else? There was a couple of girls. I can't remember now.
Biggest Loser SAS, that's insane.
Yeah, but Shannon was local, and I knew that he would help me, and he basically taught me how to pick a person up on my shoulders that afternoon when I met up with him. But then I built my team, so I got people who'd done it before, all my medical staff. I went and had x-rays, MRIs, everything on my knees to make sure they were going to get through it. Massage therapists, physios, then I got a trainer on board. So I got a trainer twice a week to help me just get me in the right kind of way. And then I did all my other stuff around it. And then just had other people on board helping me with everything that I needed, how to survive. I hate being underwater, and I was drowning myself every day at Manly Pool.
That's so funny. Darling, I'll meet you for a coffee in a minute. I'm just going to go and drown myself and I'll be back.
So I would go and swim laps. I hate swimming. I'm not good at
it. That's amazing.
And I'd do a few laps.
You have races in that.
And I'd get to the end of the Manly Pool, and I think the lifeguards probably were just going, what is she doing? Because I'd be out of breath, and then I'd sink myself.
Me. I need to drown myself.
That's it.
I need to see how long I can go under here.
I am an Olympian, and it's okay.
Exactly.
But I did all this breathing stuff as well. I went to see one of the Bondi lifeguards, Dino Gladstone, who does all this breathing stuff. Yeah. But that's the point. That's the whole thing. You cannot leave.
You didn't go half-heartedly.
No. And other people would go on this show with no training, thinking that they'd be okay, and then just
my question is, I have never watched a show, I have to be honest, but is it like, did you win?
No.
Where did you come?
You want to get through as far as you can. My goal was to get halfway through. I retired on day 6, on the end of day 6.
So you got there?
I couldn't walk anymore. My knee blew up.
I bet.
And they said, you've got a 3-kilometre run. They were trying to get rid of me. They lie to you at this point. They said,
I love it.
Got out of this water, this ice hole of water and ice, and said, you've got to run up this hill now for 3 kilometres to the extraction point, because it's all like you're in combat, right? And I'm like, I can't. I ripped off my number. I said, I don't want to leave, but I can't run anymore. My knee was just too bad.
Who won it?
Who went to the end? Sam Burgess.
Okay.
And I think Yana got almost to the end, if not to the end.
Because everyone who you're competing has obviously got these, or most have got a big mindset.
Yeah, but in the past as well, since they've done that, there have been some incredible people who haven't been athletes that have got to the end. But it's just about, it is mindset. It's strength of your mind.
Yes. And I think also, one of my questions was going to be, how is your body as a consequence of pushing yourself over the years? Obviously, is it one knee or 2 knees?
Starts with an F and ends with a D.
Well, you're looking good.
Yeah.
You're
7
looking good.
7 knee surgeries.
7 on one knee or both?
5 and then 2 on the other one.
Right.
And then I need a knee replacement at some point, and then probably next 12 months or so. Yes. So it's getting pretty bad. And now it's affecting my back, and same old, every athlete.
But the beautiful thing, she went into the SAS with that injury.
Did you ride on the ball? Did you go? Did you write anything down? For that.
I had a creed. So I did it. So here's another thing, and this is where I learnt this whole thing about filling your mind with positive stuff. 3 weeks beforehand, my knees blew up, and I had to get them both drained because I was training really hard before we started the show, and my mind was getting really negative. I'm not going to make it. That's it. I'm stuffed. I've gone too hard. No one's going to want me on their team on the thing if I get on the start line. Anyway, so I wrote this creed and I put it all around my house, everywhere, and I read it like 15 million times a day, and it basically said, I'm strong, I'm tough, my knees will be fine, I'm going to breathe through the cold, my boots going to feel like slippers because they were about 10 kilos each, the boots, and we were all getting blisters. It was just I literally wrote a list of negative stuff, and then I turned all the stuff that I was thinking and feeling about, then I made the exact opposite into a positive, and then I made it into like a creed and stuck it where I could read it all day, and that just got me in the right frame of mind. So I felt positive and strong mentally, even though physically I wasn't great.
That's a takeaway for the listeners in a huge way.
Yeah, it's certainly.
It's a big one.
I love it. I love it. And I love the ball. We're all going to go out and buy a ball.
Other of your sort of who's sort of been your biggest motivator for you? Because you're saying you've had so many, I guess, life coaches and other ones like Tony Robbins based and all those ones. Who really does it for you, or is it a combination?
It's definitely a combination in different areas of my life. In terms of my personal life, I think my sister it really inspires me because she's built a beautiful family. She's got 2 great kids, lovely husband, and I always looked up to her and said, I want to be like you. And as I was going through sport, I hadn't yet built my family. Only one sister and one brother.
The beautiful brother that set you on your journey.
Yes. And then the sister was my inspiration for my family life and being a mother. I wanted to be a mum like her.
Lovely. Yeah.
And then for my sporting career, once Natalie and I settled into a really comfortable partnership, she inspired me. 10 years younger, she was incredible, and she taught me a lot and still does teach me a lot because we're still very close. And then bits and pieces of other people, you know. Yes. If I'm doing some commentary, then I'll look up to one of the top commentators in our sport or in other sports and be inspired and learn from them.
So it's organic.
Whatever you want in life. If this is your path, find someone who's doing it really well and go to that person.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy.
And do you like pretty easy. Doing, you know, the commentary, and will you be at the next Olympic Games?
I hope so. Yes.
So you speak beautifully, and being a motivational speaker, you know,
I love the stories. I try and share the athletes. So the athletes that I'm commentating on now on the World Tour and then at the Olympics, I love to share their backstories.
Yes,
because life is about stories. That's how we learn, right? We learn, we get inspired.
That's why we started the podcast.
Exactly, love it.
Over the back fence. Remember those days? You'd go down with a cup of tea and you would chew the fat, literally.
Yeah.
And we're trying to bring that back with the podcast.
And what's your view on friendship? Because, you know, so we've been friends for 40 years and, you know, we kind of value friendship.
Like sisters.
But we always want to be inclusive, and I always think it's great to create and meet new friends as well. You know?
Absolutely.
So what's your view on the importance of connection and friendship?
Yes, so important. And I know especially over the last 5 or 6 years being single, it's been really evident to me how important girlfriends are.
Yes.
You know, to be there to back you up and to back each other up when you need each other. And I've met some really beautiful women in the last 5 or 6 years that I've become really close to. And you wouldn't think that at our age we can create strong friendships still, but we can.
Oh, we can.
So true. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree.
And then I have friends. I also have friends all around the world because I've travelled and played volleyball everywhere, different countries, but also around Australia because I've lived in different cities that I can just go back to and pick up, you know, wherever I left off with them. So friendships, relationships.
Yes. Yeah. Remember the word yes?
Yes.
And go out and get a volleyball.
Any other
You're obsessed with the volleyball.
I want to ask a question. Nicola wrote this down. Wrote this one down. Because my guilty pleasure in life is snakes. I have snakes everywhere. You know the ones you buy?
Yes.
I have them in my car. I have them at home. I'll just chew on a snake. What's your guilty pleasure? You're chocky, aren't you?
I love it. But now the best thing is good for you, dark chocolate.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm trying my best, Nicola. I'm trying my best.
Yeah, sugar's not good for us.
No, it's the word.
Replace it.
What do you, you go, I feel like that. I'm going to have it.
I think my worst thing is coffee, too much coffee.
Like what would you drink in a day-ish?
Well, 2 or 3 cups. I know it's not a lot, but I don't also know it's not great. Yeah. But I think it's...
But I love coffee too.
They say one's really good.
Sometimes I actually don't even enjoy drinking it. It's just the habit. We get used to these habits of just... Whether I go for a walk with my dog and I get a coffee. So, and sometimes, you know, I go, well, if I don't get a coffee, it's not really a proper walk because it's just kind of connected.
Do you have to have something with it? Like I normally have to eat something with a
No,
coffee.
not I used to, but no, because now I get my coffee when I go shopping. So I'm doing something active. I don't sit and have a coffee. I actually always love to have a coffee when I'm active.
Right.
So, but it's just a habit that you develop. And so if you've got a bad habit that you want to change, you can't just try and stop doing it because then it's down to willpower, and willpower will only last a certain amount of time. I do. I love a red wine.
So do I.
But what you have to do is try and replace it with something. So I'm thinking, do I replace it with a green tea, which I've tried over the years, different things, but now still
I'm trying green tea.
Keep on finding different things.
With mint. I'm doing green tea and mint at the moment.
And you were saying with fun facts, I find this hard to believe, but Kerri, is this true? You don't like sand?
Are you serious? It can get a bit gritty.
Yeah, look, it was probably
come on.
It was probably the hardest thing that I had to deal with. Stupidly, I still don't like it.
Can you believe it? So random.
Why is that?
I just don't like the feeling of it sticking. I just don't. I like having.
I can't stand it when it's all over me when I leave the beach.
And can you imagine this? Like,
so funny.
You're in.
It's random.
Imagine this. You're in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. You know, one of the most famous beaches in the world. We're about to play in front of about 5,000 crazy Brazilians.
They're bikinis. They don't have bottoms or
and you get dressed in your hotel across the road and you've got the air conditioning on and, you know, you put a T-shirt and shorts over your swimsuit and then you walk across the road, you start to sweat because it's really hot. It's like 38 degrees and the humidity is crazy. You get to the court, you have to start warming up. You take your T-shirt and shorts off and by now it's not just drops of sweat. It's like a sheath of
wet.
water.
Oh, okay.
And it's that first ball that's like a few meters away, and then you have to go and launch for that ball, and you know that when you get up, you're going to be an absolute schnitzel.
Yeah, totally. And you get it, and what about sand in your eyes?
Well, that's what Sunnies are for.
Yeah,
that's
but really does it?
Yeah, it does. It stops it, because if you think about it, like you hit the ground, the sand sticks, then you throw your arm in the air, the sand goes everywhere. So Sunnies are really important, not just for the sun, but also for eye protection.
Amazing. I couldn't believe it when you said that. That is
it's so cool.
Funny.
I love it, but I get a bit when it gets a bit gritty.
Well, honestly, we could talk to you forever.
We've gone on too long as normal.
But you know, some of the tips. Thank you for sharing that. I don't know if there's any other last takeaway that you could be listening to, to give to any of our listeners as well. Something out of your toolkit. I know that you've written a book as well, and any last tips that you can sort of share with our listeners before we wrap this up.
I do get asked a lot about, what are your keys to success, and I think at the end of the day it comes down to 3. Very simple. Passion. You've got to love what you do. You've got to be really passionate about it. It's got to be in your own heart. Preparation. So it's the hard work. You've got to do hard work. If you want to be really successful at something, do the hard work, and then get over the things like the sand. And then the last one is build the belief, because without belief we can't succeed. We have to believe. And so the building of the belief takes time, and it takes all of that pushing yourself out of your comfort zone every day, and just growth and setting goals and having the steps and having dates, being accountable. All that stuff builds the belief. So by the time you get to the opportunity to win the gold, win that interview, be in that relationship, whatever it is that you want in life, you have the belief that you can actually be there and that you deserve to be there.
Okay.
I could hear that again and again and again. And we're all about inspiration, and you're the queen of it.
We're going to do our signature questions. This one's very simple. What makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Yeah. Oh, I think having fun with my friends, laughing. And good time, and music.
Yeah,
and I know you're talking about how the music and you just feel it. Yeah. When I need an uplift, I turn my tunes up, and I have my favourite songs on Spotify always, and I'm always only listening to the first 10 of about 100. Yeah. But I just turn it up loud and I sing to myself as loud as I can.
The greatest gift.
Come on, start singing this one.
Oh, God. See, I'm doing old disco songs lately. I can't help it.
Now, if you could share a back fence with anybody on planet Earth, Kerri, who would it be and why? Past or present? Hard
question. I thought about it a while, and this is going to be really weird, but Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay. W-H-Y.
Yes, because I think he's funny.
Yes.
I think he's really funny. I love his movies.
That movie Twins.
He's fit and healthy and always will be, strong, and I'm really into strength training. I think it's so important for women especially, so he's inspirational in that sense. And he has just changed his life so many times. He's gone from athlete to movie star to politician and to, inspirational guy. He's just a super interesting man, and I think it would be really funny to have
That is the most random.
I know, that's why I thought
when you describe his career like that, it's true.
He'd be able to fix things around my house. Yes. I'd say, Arnie, can you come over and lift this for me?
That could be your pool boy.
He's not German.
Austrian.
Is he? Well, that's similar, because I was just thinking with your German roots, the Austrian there. So, I love that. Well, look, you have just been such a joy, and we can't wait to be dancing with you on the dance floor. But thank you so much, and we'd like everyone to rate and review. So keep that coming. We are on YouTube, so tune in, subscribe. It's free, and we've got our own rating system. Now I don't know that you know, but we like the 5 stars. But Di gives her own number out of stars. We've got Kerri.
It's easy.
How many out of 5 does Kerri get?
2,000 out of 5. I love that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening, everyone.
Thanks, ladies.
Ciao. Bye.